Summer's on the way and our new garden's changing every day. Here's what I've been doing to keep it looking fabulous. It's easy to forget that grass is a plant, and it's a plant that we treat more cruelly than anything else growing in the garden. We prune it once a week in spring and summer. You can't do that to anything else. We trample all over it with our feet and stamp on it. We play games on it, and then in winter, when it's cold and it's wet, we stop mowing it, give it a break, and we walk all over it and turn it to mud. Is it any wonder that lawns can sometimes look a bit of a mess? But grass has a great capacity to recover, and we can do one or two things which help it recover, but at the same time show it that we care. Now, come spring, after that winter and all those heavy rains, one thing that's grown faster than the grass is the moss in and among it. And to allow the grass room to spread sideways, room to grow, room to create a lawn, we need to get rid of that moss. Now, the simplest way to get that moss and any dead grass, or thatch as we call it, out is to use a wire tooth rake. Pulling and pulling and pulling, you'll be amazed at what comes out. Great for your abs, exhausting. Better still, if you've got a garden of any size, is to use a powered scarifier, which at the press of a button and the pull of a handle will pull out all that moss and dead grass. And it does it by virtue of these teeth down here. That whirls round and scratches away. Make sure whenever you turn the machine over like this, that the battery is not in there so it can't start up and injure you. The important thing is you get it at the right height. This is the height adjuster. You can see the machine goes up and down. Start off at a height which is taking out the vast majority of that moss and dead grass and leaving your lawn ready for the mower. And you use this just as you would use a lawn mower, going up and down in stripes. You'll be amazed at what comes out, because it will be a mixture of moss, dead grass, broad-leaved weeds. The reason we end up with so much moss after winter is that in winter, moss grows faster than grass, which needs it to be a bit warmer to grow. And that's why every time come March, it seems to be all moss and no grass. We've got to give the grass a chance to catch up, get the moss out. The grass will then start tillering, spreading sideways and growing upwards. But what it is wonderful for the compost heap. It's let air in, it's let light in, it's encouraging the grass to grow, and when you got all this out, you're ready to mow. So, we've got the moss out, we're now going to mow. What do? We make sure on this cut now that we don't cut it too low. There's a height adjustment here, which lets that go up and down, that deck. This is the grass box, which is collecting the grass. Don't leave your clippings on the lawn. They look unsightly. They walk inside. You get a heck of a lot of flack for traipsing it all over the fitted carpet. Always collect your clippings and put them on the compost heap. Utilise them. Then they come back into the garden. So height of cut's important. You want stripes? This is what gets you stripes, a rear roller. If it's just got four wheels like those front ones, you won't get stripes, because what the roller does is it presses the grass down, and when you're looking down that way, you'll have a lighter stripe because you're looking on the flat of the grass, and when you come back, you're looking into the grass and you're getting shadow. Darker stripe, lighter stripe. Simple as that. The roller is what will give it to you, and when you've made sure that your mower is in good working order, always get it serviced in the winter. This is an electric one with a battery, lots of safety features. Read the instruction book so that you do things in the right order and you press those buttons in the right order. There goes the blade. Now moving forward, off we go. I'm slightly overhanging the edge that I've cut, otherwise you end up with this little fringe going all the way down. And it's pretty nearly straight, which, bearing in mind the fact that I'm aware I'm being filmed on camera from a funny angle, just my excuse really, isn't it? Not too bad. I love seeing stripes. Just a few things. One, don't mow too close. An inch in summer, and in really hot weather, raise it to 1.5 inches. The longer the grass blades, the greener the lawn will stay. Once it gets really hot and dry and rain isn't forthcoming, the lawn will start to go brown. Never water your lawn. It will recover very quickly in a shower of rain. How often should you cut your lawn? At the very least, once a fortnight. But if you want a really good thick lawn, once a week, during weather when we've got mild temperatures, sunshine and showers to keep it growing. When it gets hot and dry, cut it down to once a fortnight and leave more grass on. The other thing is no mow May, an encouragement not to mow your lawn in May, but to let it grow for insects. Well, what happens come June? You're cutting it all down, there's far too much grass on, the insects, oh blow them, they've had their mate. No. Far better to mow constantly through the year, but to leave longer areas that are unmown. And if you're not mowing them, leave them unmown for at least 2 months before you cut them off, and then let them grow up again. No mow May, lovely phrase, not very practical, especially if you're Mrs. Blackbird, trying to feed her young and pull worms up from a mowed lawn. So don't imagine that a mowed lawn is unfriendly for wildlife. As far as the birds are concerned, and provided you only use organic fertiliser in spring like bloodbone and fish meal, no lawn weed killers, no inorganic fertilisers, you end up with a green sward which is pleasing to the eye under your apple trees. Cue bird song. Thank you. There's one overriding thing about gardening today which I think is really important, and that is that we are all conscious of encouraging and helping the wildlife in our gardens. With that in mind, I've chosen 7 plants that are wonderfully useful and equally beautiful to create a wildlife garden. First up, a bright daisy. This is Osteospermum. Now, Osteospermum is a perennial, but it's tender. In the mildest gardens, those by the sea, those in the southwest of England, it can come through the winter, though it tends to get a bit taller and a bit more straggly. But if you plant this out mid to late May, you'll get a whole summer of colour from these bright daisies. You can see all these buds to come. And if this particular one is just a little too leery for your fancy, There are others that are dark reds, deep burgundy. There's one called Tresco Purple, which I absolutely love. And the other important thing for wildlife is that bees and pollinating insects will like it, because they'll come for the nectar and the pollen in that central area of the flower. So the Osteospermum was number 7. Number 6, a real favourite, the butterfly bush, Buddleia. Now, Buddleia is a real opportunist. It colonised bomb sites in London with enormous rapidity after World War II, putting its roots down through cracks in masonry and piles of rubble. It proves that it likes a good, sunny, hot, well-drained spot. And if you give it that, it will produce these flowers that are long, great spikes of bloom. This is Black Knight, a really dark purple variety. They grow at the end of these shoots that are produced during spring and summer, and come July these will be covered in these long spikes of purple, and you can go around your garden, provided you've planted it in a sunny spot, and see loads of butterflies, small tortoise shells, red admirals, peacock butterflies, feasting on the nectar that these flowers carry in abundance. At number 5, something completely different. This is Cotoneaster horizontalis variegatus. It's known as the fishbone Cotoneaster. Why? Well, just look at that. It's the perfect kipper, isn't it, really? And this little variegated variety is really sweet. The thing about it is it forms a bit of a thicket. It will sort of amble its way up a wall as if it's got its back to it and it's trying to get up there. But the other thing about it is that in autumn it carries lots and lots of bright red, small, bite-sized berries. Birds love it. It's a really good winter food plant for birds. And being really quite thick, it can also be a good nesting place. It loses its leaves in winter, and then you really do see that the branches are studded with tiny little rubies, the red berries that you love, and so will the birds. Our native wildflowers are hugely important to wildlife, so at number 4 I'm including one of them. This is the red campion. Catchfly is its other common name, Silene, its Latin name, and this is a cultivated variety of red campion. It's called Raleigh's favourite. I don't know who Raleigh was, but I'm sure somebody will tell me. Again, great for bees and butterflies. These softly downy leaves and the flowers, which are rich purple pink. The thing about this is it likes damp earth and it's tolerant of a spot of shade. So if you've got a shady corner that's a bit boggy, try red campion there, along with its close relative ragged robin. At number 3, a great favourite, catmint. Nepeta is its Latin name. There are lots of different varieties. It can get quite tall unless you get a variety called Walker's Low, which stays a bit lower but still quite tall. It has these flowers. You can see it's related to the dead nettle, to salvia. It's very aromatic. Crush the leaves and you get this scent that cats love. Our cat used to roll in it. Cats love it, but the bees absolutely adore foraging for nectar and pollen in these flowers. Come midsummer, if it's got a bit straggly, take shears to it and cut it back to 4 or 5 inches. That way you'll get a second flush of flowers later in the year. It's a plant for sunshine, where the bees will come in their swarms and absolutely love it. And you can just lie by your catmint and listen to the hum of nature. So, can you guess what's at number 1? Well, at number 2 is one you might have thought would be number 1, and it's a close run thing, I'll give you that. This, lavender. A lovely rounded shrub. If you clip it over lightly when it's finished flowering, you'll make it last longer. If you can get 6, 7, 8 years out of lavender, you're doing really well. a great path edger, and for wildlife it's absolutely adored by bees, just like the catmint. You can walk past lavender in flower and see it absolutely awash with honeybees, domesticated bees, bumblebees. Any self-respecting bee will come to lavender to drink the nectar, and then of course you can snip those flowers off just before they're fading and use them in lavender bags to put in your underwear drawer. And just in case you're inquiring, yes, I do. There are many different varieties. English lavender is the one to go for rather than French lavender, which is a little bit more tender. French lavender is the one with the ass's ears at the top of the flower. Very pretty, but not quite so hardy as the English type. And the best varieties, I reckon, are Hidcote and Munstead. Either will do you for a border down the side of a sunny path. And as you brush past, the aroma will be released and you'll hear that hum of bees. Just before I get to number one, I'll sneak another one in. That's this, Berberis. Now this particular Berberis is named after Charles Darwin. Berberis darwinii, and this is the compact form, Berberis darwinii compacta. It just means it's shorter. Darwinii itself makes a huge shrub. Compacta is lower growing. But it's covered in these glorious flowers in spring and early summer. And if you look closely at each one, you'll see that each individual flower looks like a miniature daffodil. I love looking at plants closely. They take you somewhere in your imagination, don't they? Now this offers a double whammy for wildlife. Not all Berberises are evergreen. This one is, which means it forms a thicket great for bird nesting. It also has berries when these flowers fade, so it offers food and it offers shelter. And bees love the open flowers. It's win-win-win, isn't it, with Berberis darwinii compacta. Number one, well, it's been here all along. It's this. It's a crabapple tree. Oh, you say it's a tree though. I haven't got room for a tree. You've got room for this tree. After 10 years, it's somewhere between 1.25 and 1.5 metres high, 4 or 5 feet. It's covered in blossom, which bees adore. And the buds of the blossom are this rosy pink. They open and they're white inside. It's a glorious confection. It's called Malus tina, and that is the name to go for if you want a dwarf crabapple. And that's the other bonus, of course, is following on from this spring blossom come the autumn fruits. You can use them for crabapple jelly, or you can leave them for the birds and they'll adore them. Any good, decent, ordinary soil and a spot in full sunshine will suit a crabapple tree. You can even hang bird feeders from it and grow other plants for wildlife underneath. So I reckon that's not a bad octet. 8 plants that will bring wildlife into your garden and encourage those that are already there. They'll be rubbing their hands together, or their claws, or their beaks, or their legs. It cheers me up no end that recently gardens have been recognised for what they are. Bastions at the forefront of conservation of wildlife, and the fact that we can live with wildlife and our gardens and garden plants doing something beautiful that benefits us all. So don't be frightened of growing any flowers in your garden. The bees and the butterflies come in. They don't mind where they originally came from. They just know and are grateful for the fact that they're in your garden right now. If you want to brighten up a bare corner of your garden or your patio, then a simple way to do it is with pots of summer flowering bulbs. Here, on this little bit of flagstone paving, we look at it across the garden. It's sort of uneventful at the moment, but with 3 pots placed here with different heights and spectacles of flower in them, suddenly it will transform it into a focal point. Now I want to talk to you about the rule of 3. There is something instantly attractive about trios in a garden, about triangles, about groups of 3. Psychologists will tell you exactly why. I can't, except to say that I like them. And with this vast array of summer flowering bulbs, I've got a great choice that I can choose things from. This is a white flowered pendulous begonia, and I'm going to plant begonias in the smaller one. More on them in a mow. In the middle one, this cracking lily called Chartwell. There are 2 packets of 2. There they are, all ready to sprout. They'll go in the middle-sized pot. And then in the large one at the back, dahlias. Now, people don't often grow dahlias in pots, but they're really good in large containers, especially if you water and feed them well. Dahlias are greedy plants. One look at dahlia foliage, succulent and juicy, and you can tell that they're greedy blighters. But in a pot, you're in sole charge of watering and feeding, and that means you can give them a really rich diet on which to thrive. The dahlias, this is a variety here called Crazy Love. I say nothing. And it's going to come up here somewhere. The lilies will be up to here and the begonias down there. So you're going to get a variation in size and a variation in colour. I could put them all together in the big pot, but the dahlias with all their foliage and heavy flowers would overwhelm both the lilies and the begonias. I'd rather grow them as 3 individual plants in effect, position them together so that I can give them the space to grow and also to see them better than if they're all crammed into the one pot, which is why I'm using 3. The power of 3. If you get them when they haven't started to sprout, sometimes it's difficult to tell which way up they go, but generally speaking, the convex side is downwards, and you can see here this dished top is where the shoots grow from. Geoffrey Smith, that old great gardener I used to know, he always said, if you put the green side upwards and the brown side downwards, you're in with a chance. I've got, goodness me, I've got 5 in here. This is like a lucky bag when you were little, do you remember? Get off. Here we are. 5 lovely tuberous begonias. That's what they often look like. See, that one hasn't started sprouting yet, but it's still quite firm. That's always a good sign for any bulb, whether it's a spring flower or a summer flower. They want to be firm, not soft and mushy. If they're soft and mushy, don't buy them. And these are beauties. One hopes they're all the same colour, but if they're not, well, it's gardening, isn't it, really? We used to just sort of ease them into the surface like that, but we now know that you get much better rooting from them if you actually dig a bit of a hole out, so they're just about 1 inch or half an inch below the surface, because what that makes sure is that when they start to grow, the bases of the stems that are growing can root from the bottom and make them much more stable. And there you go, I'll turn him around that way. I can get 5 in there, I'm very greedy, but it will be a pot beautifully full of colour. That's it, give it a watering in now. With all these containers here, I put crocks in the bottom over the hole. Drainage hole is vital. You don't want them to be soggy, so drainage hole to let the excess water go out, and these just concave side downwards to stop the hole being bunged up. So here we have 4 bulbs, 2 in each, of Chartwell, this glorious pink and white lily. Now the thing you will notice about lily bulbs is that they're scaly. There's a shoot already growing from here, and they're made rather the opposite of the tuber. There's 2 bulbs in each packet, and I'm going to get 4 in here. But what you can see here is little roots coming, and that shows that they root from the base of the stem. So the thing to do is to only half fill your pot. The ducks are quite interested. Only half fill your pot full of compost. Bed them into that evenly spaced, because then as those shoots grow, those roots at the bottom of that stem are going to spread out sideways, help to anchor the plant and give it more nutrition. And then you can fill up on top, having made sure they're all the right way up, with more peat-free multi-purpose compost. Gently tuck it in with your fingertips, being careful not to bash those shoots. 2 out of 3. I reckon I can get 3 of these tubers in this pot. Let's take them out and have a look. It's always an exciting moment, this. You can see that they're okay and alive through the plastic, but when you look at them, all these fleshy tubers here supporting these little green shoots. Put it carefully down there, and all 3 of them look to me, we're having to swim now. Look at that. Oh, it's so promising. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that that little thing there, with that tiny shoot, will produce a massive plant full of those glorious flowers. Crazy love, crazy plant. And then the last one, you think, how on earth can such a glorious plant come from such a dried up piece of plant tissue? But it's not dried up, you see. Inside those tubers there's moisture. And then it's planting time. Now with these I filled the pot right up, because I'm planting these using my hand as a trowel. The compost is really quite soft. I'm making a hole for each one, tucking them in there, and I'm covering up the shoots so they'll just be protected for a while before they perforate the surface when danger of frost is past, because they are frost tender dahlias. I'm just leaving the old stalk, last year's stalk, sticking out. So there we have it. 3 pots, proving the rule of 3. Well, they will when I put them in the right formation. This chap comes round here. So now from across the garden you'll see the bench, and in front of it dahlias up here, lilies a bit lower, and then the begonias down at the front. And then we end up with a nice place to sit and watch your potted garden grow. The thing about gardening, it's all about hope, it's all about promise. And they always say it's better to travel hopefully than to arrive. Well, in a garden, you generally, if you do the job well, you do arrive, and it's really enjoyable. Why not join our growing community and subscribe to the channel? I'm posting new videos on gardening every week.